why Lydia might tune in tonight. She wanted to. So she says, this is Lydia.
Oh, you have the day? You have the day.
13, I think I ended it right. 13:11 plus 7. Did we get it right?
All right. All right, all right. Oh,
Just in time, as always.
we're missing a thing.
Bluetooth connected.
I'm sitting there gapping and I didn't do my part.
Still have 1 minute, so we're good.
We still have a minute? Yep.
Yep.
All right, here we are. Friday night is Northern Neck J6 Vigil, day 1318. Since January 6th, it is August 16th of 2024, and as always, we'll start with a very brief prayer and a pledge of allegiance. Heavenly Father, please, as always, watch over the families and give them guidance and hope for their loved ones that are behind bars, working through this just abomination of justice in the United States. And especially help them as they work through and come on out to help them to get their lives restarted again. And please make sure that justice is delivered to every one of these individuals. In Jesus' name, amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The gold fringes, eh?
Yeah. Oh, I printed this out for you. They did something new on Patriot. No. Patriot, this is just for you. Patriot Mail Project. All the people that's on NPR, they added them.
Oh, wonderful.
And it's just up, under recent updates, and they're all there.
Oh, that's great.
So there are 2 more, and I printed this out yesterday, now 2 more for today. And
I went to the website tonight again, and it's not there. They didn't update.
oh, okay.
They did not update this.
So anyway, it's funny, there was a lot of people that we already talked to, which is,
Well, I remember the faces. They're, like the very first one, this lady here, that's from Solomons, Maryland, I think.
but there's no locations for anybody yet.
Okay, that's
So,
fine.
Tommy Tatum, and this guy, he's already in DC.
Tatum's not incarcerated.
Steve Bannon's in there. No, Steve Bannon's in there.
Mhm.
But all the new people that
Well, thank you for
They're
this.
on
This
now.
is great. I'll put this with my records and keep it in place there.
messes me up because that's the first thing I do in the morning is go to the updates to see who moved.
Yeah, okay, so, well, why don't we just give a shout out to patriotmailproject.com, and it is probably, do you agree that it might be the most central clearinghouse for all the information on these guys?
Yes.
Where I go.
And there was a problem with the sorting. I talked to them and they fixed the sorting. They were just updating stuff, and now you can sort like you're supposed to.
All right. And Maurice, if you get a chance, can you go to the NPR website and just see if they updated it? But they usually do it by 5:30 on Friday night every week, but they've not been as consistent of late. But I checked it at 6:15 and it still wasn't updated. So, yeah. We haven't done this in a while, so I think it might be worthwhile to read the names of the people that went through Northern Neck Regional Jail and maybe a little bit of background on how we got started with this. But the Northern Neck Patriots were aware of the January Sixers, and some of our members were really on the leading edge of that and figured out how to write letters to them, how to they brought that back to our organization and put forth a motion or an idea for us to try to help out with commissary. And so we started to learn the names of the people that were in there. And it was only a handful at first, half a dozen or so, and then that grew. I think there were over 20 individuals at one time. Not updated?
I can't seem to.
Oh, okay.
Find my way.
NPR.org, J6.
Yeah, just put NPR J6. That usually works. And so we started supporting them, and then in October of 2022, we started to actually hold vigils outside of the Northern Neck Regional Jail here locally. And going to board meetings and asking questions about the treatment and touring the jail. So that's how our advocacy started. And we want to thank Tammy Perryman and the others from Freedom Corner in Washington, D.C., Tommy Tatum as well, Stormtrooper, Sherry, trying to think who else came out on these first couple of vigils. Obviously Randy Ireland, who kind of took it over and then got us up to speed with the technology and how to actually work through PRISM, post these things and get them out there. So that's how we started. And our upcoming 2-year anniversary of these vigils is going to be October. I think we just need to pick a date, but 12th or 11th.
It's the Friday.
The Friday, yeah, you're right.
Day before the Saturday.
Yeah, before. We've got to figure out where we're going to do it. Yeah, the 11th of October, that Friday evening, is when we're going to recognize it, because the actual calendar date would be Monday the 14th, so we're going to do it a couple days early. So back to the list of the individuals that we know of that were here. Howard Adams, Zach Alam, Eric Beauchene, Tim Boehner, Nick Brockhoff, Jeffrey Brown, Mason Corson, Lucas Denny, Israel Easterday, Brandon Fellows, Todd Gardner, David Geetson, James Grant, Matthew Green, Kenneth Harrelson, Albuquerque Head, Brian Jackson, Adam Jackson, Justin Jersey, David Judd, Cash Kelly, Hosea Kenyon, Nick Lagerund, Samuel Lazar, Marcus Malley, Mark Mazza, Patrick McCoy, Jonathan Mellis, Matthew Miller, Robert Morse, John Munifo, Daryl Neely, Ethan Nordine, William Norwood, Michael Perkins, Dominic Pizzola, Mark Ponder, Ronnie Presley, Mahila Pryor, Chris Quaglin, Barry Ramey, Zach Reel, William Reed, Howard Richardson, Thomas Robertson, Daniel Rodriguez, Jeffrey Sable, Ryan Samsel, Ronald Sandlin, Troy Sargent, Jeffrey Sills, Andrew Taki, Enrique Tario, Curtis Tate, Ricky Wilden, Shane Woods, and Kyle Young. And obviously, if we've missed anybody that slipped through there, my apologies, but that's our list.
The charges were last updated on August 9th.
The what was that last?
The charges on NPR.
Okay, yes, indeed. Last Friday, August 9th, NPR was the last they updated it. So the reporter, whomever is managing that, could be on vacation. I don't know, but for whatever reason, they weren't updated. But that gives me a pretty good indicator every week of how many they're arresting. And so August 9th, I think there were 8 or 10 that week.
It said there were 20 new.
20 new?
20 results found.
Yeah. Well, I have it here. I can look it up.
But that could be somebody's was updated too.
Yeah, they just update if somebody's sentenced. I think Brian Jackson's sentencing was in there as an update, so that's probably right. Yep. Which paper? You need this one?
There were 11 of them updated, so we got 9.
Type it in because this is taking forever.
She just told us, she just looked.
Be able to click on it. Save it.
So we were chatting about something before we started here tonight that I want us to just share and get it out there into the J6 community, which some of you are probably already aware. If any of you are following the Whitmer kidnapping case, Governor Whitmer in Michigan, I would just say that if you're not aware of what was going on with that, that was, let's just say, an entrapment situation. There were plants from the FBI inside this organization of a militia type organization, and they hatched a plot to kidnap the governor, which did not go through, and they arrested, I don't know, 16 different people or something like that. And several of these individuals who were basically railroaded like a lot of the J6ers are still spending time behind bars. I want to read this little piece. I follow the person who I think is probably the lead advocate for these individuals. Her handle on X is Radix Verum, RADIXVERUM, and her address is @NotRadix. So I don't know Latin. I didn't really look it up to try to figure out what that's all about, but there's something interesting in her name. And I think her first name is Christina. I don't remember her last name. But she posted this on Sunday, August. She posted something from Paul Bellar, Bellar, who is one of the individuals who's been suffering a lot of the same things that January 6ers, diesel therapy, moving around all the time. He says this, part of it's redacted. Yeah, we got court this Friday the 16th. I wouldn't be shocked if we lost contact. I've got a feeling once we get to MDOC, they're going to split us, keep us in the hole, and then probably ship us to some messed up places or bury us under protective custody with the excuse of it's for their safety. So she kind of highlights this a little bit and says, Whitmer Fednapping hoax appeals update. As you all know, on the eve of their appeals, Joe Morrison, Pete Musico, and Paul Bellar were shipped off to federal BOP facilities across the country. This was done for political reasons, as emails have revealed in recent filings. Joe Morrison and Paul Bellar were sent back to Michigan to Jackson County for an evidentiary hearing in the case that still hasn't happened yet. The guys have a hearing coming up this Friday the 16th and are concerned they will be moved from Jackson County. Please keep these guys and their families in your prayers and pray that the hearing goes well. Thank you. So I don't have an update on whether that hearing happened or not, but I did go in and do a little bit more research, just the basic search engine research. Wikipedia has a fairly succinct, although slanted, but you know, they've got the names and places and so on. So there were 14 people that were initially labeled as participants. Adam Fox, his charges were kidnapping, conspiracy, and conspiracy to use a weapon of mass destruction. Verdict was guilty, sentenced to 16 years. He's incarcerated in ADX Florence. Where's that? Florence, do you remember?
That would be in
South
Carolina.
Is it South Carolina?
Yeah.
Joseph Morrison, materially aiding a terrorist and membership in a gang, guilty. Sentence, 10 to 20 years. FCI Pekin, it says. That might be Perkin, but. Ty Garbin, conspiracy to commit kidnapping, pled guilty. 6 years and 3 months, later reduced to 2 years and 6 months. He's in the Van Buren County Jail. Barry Croft, charges were kidnapping, conspiracy to use a weapon of mass destruction, and possessing an unregistered destructive device. Found guilty. 19 years and 7 months, ADX Florence. Caleb Franks, conspiracy to commit kidnapping. He pled guilty. 4 years, he's in FCI Terre Haute. Daniel Harris, conspiracy to commit kidnapping, not guilty. Brandon Caserta, conspiracy to commit kidnapping, not guilty. Pete Musico, materially aiding a terrorist and membership in a gang, guilty, 12 to 20 years. FCI Gilmer, that's in West Virginia, I looked that one up.
ADX Florence is in Florence, Colorado.
Colorado, okay. Well, there again, I mean, these federal charges, these guys are supposed to be within 500 miles of their homes. When I was speaking to Chris Quavin the other day, I looked up where he's at in Oxford, Wisconsin. From where he lives in New Jersey, it is 987 miles on Google Maps.
The same is true of Curtis Tate.
Where's Curtis?
I can't remember.
But a lot of them are well over the 500 miles, absolutely. And by the way, Oxford, Wisconsin, I know a little bit about Wisconsin. It's up north of the Wisconsin Dells. It's in the middle of nowhere, and the research I did on that facility, it's another one of those places that, well, we'll read some of Chris's words about that later. Keep going here, a couple more. Sean Fix, providing material support for terrorist acts and a gun crime. He pled guilty, 3 to 20 years. I don't know if Michigan is like Pennsylvania. When you get charged, they give you a range, and it's for the minimum, and so 3 years minimum, and as much as 20 years. That's quite a swing, so I'm not sure what's up with that. Eric Molitor was found not guilty of providing material support for terrorist acts and a gun crime. Same charges for Michael Nall, not guilty. Brother William Nall, they're twin brothers, not guilty. Paul Bellar, materially aiding a terrorist and gang membership, he was found guilty, and 7 to 20 years FCI school kill. And the last one, Brian Higgins, he pled guilty to material support of an act of terrorism, and he got 3 years of probation.
Tate's in Philadelphia right now.
Curtis Tate's in Philly.
I thought he was sent somewhere else. Dominic Fox said he was somewhere and his family was basically across the country.
They could have moved again.
Quite possible. As of the first of the month, he was in Philadelphia.
My understanding on that whole 10 to 20 year thing is that the sentence is 20 years with eligibility to get out earlier, not the other way around.
Well, agreed, Maurice, but the reason for I went through this in Pennsylvania with my sister's murder. They gave a range, and that's how the Commonwealth's attorney explained it to me. They're going to do the minimum amount, and depending upon everything else and how their behavior and all that is they could get up to the max.
He's in Fort Dix.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was saying. Who is?
Tate. New Jersey, Fort Dix.
So again, I highly encourage all the J6 family to look into these people. I'm going to try to put together a little bit more information. I did some research today to find out where these people are. I do want to look them up. I looked up the BOP search, and that's all I did was I just typed in Bureau of Prison, BOP inmate search. That's what you use?
I have it bookmarked.
You have it bookmarked?
What
Okay.
does it say?
But it takes you right there. It's one of the first search choices that's there, and you can just type in the individual's name. I don't think the database is great because I could not find Joseph Moore. I found a Joseph Morrison who's 88 years old and was released in 2016. So that's the only Joe Morrison that came up. So some of the others did come up, but not all of them. So I don't think the database is perfect. But again, I think these people, I think there's some symbiosis here on what they're seeing, how they're being treated, the justice system, the diesel therapy, their access to discovery, all these kinds of things. I think we should cross-pollinate a little bit and try to understand, maybe help these people with the beautiful support network that the J6 Patriots have done. Yeah, okay. Just www.bop.gov inmate loc. Yeah, inmate LOC for locator. That's very, very good. Thanks.
Do you have anything that you would like to talk about?
I forgot my paper at home, but. Oh, you could tell about Chris.
Well, yeah,
Where he's located.
got a bunch of stuff for Chris. We'll kind of save that for a minute because I think we're going to be Chrising out tonight. This was a post that I saw today. Judge Kolar Kotelli. Now we know her because she's one of the judges that are trying these January 6ers. This date, August 13th, I believe. Judge Kolar Kotelli, 75, of Kingston, Massachusetts, today to 24 months incarceration for praying outside an abortion clinic. Now, you all know we followed some of the other trials around these abortion protesters, and they're being handed the same kind of severe justice that's happening with the J6ers and now, obviously, with the Whitmer people. After Harlow's husband begged for mercy, expressing his fear that his wife would die alone in prison, the judge taunted that maybe Harlow would make an effort to remain alive because that is a tenet of her religion. That's the definition of crass. Judge Kolar Kotelli, you should be ashamed of yourself. All those judges in that circuit court should be ashamed of yourselves, and hopefully you will be one day.
Hopefully.
All right, how do you want to tackle the Chris thing? I got one other thing, but I'll keep it.
I think given the nature of the Chris thing, that starting anywhere is probably as good as any.
Well, Chris Quaglin has been moving around a lot. You probably could speak better to that and where he's been and so on, but he's in Oxford, Wisconsin right now. And he wants to call in and speak to this vigil. I don't think that's a great idea because we've seen other people have backlash from that. But Chris is a pretty indomitable spirit. That was in the...
Sorry about that. Scary.
That is scary.
Cheryl. All right, I'm just going to read this latest one from Chris because he's wait, that's August 13th, the latest one. You should start that one. All right. Yeah, he was going to talk to the warden. I guess he had a meeting today to talk to the warden and was going to ask him if it was okay to call us. So we'll find out, I guess, if he calls.
And I'll do it anyway.
As you know, as you know, all I wanted to do is my 6 months to 6 years in peace and quiet. I wanted to see my son and work on my case. The DOJ and now the BOP have prevented me from doing this. So I talked to Captain yesterday. They said probably not as far as 60 minutes. Tom knows the exact wording they used. So he told me this, that he asked he told the captain that he wanted them to approve him to get on a 60 minutes interview. And I believe the response he got was, where do you think you are that you can ask for that kind of a request? So like, forget about it. He was told that his request to get moved was denied. He can apply in 1 year. I'm a first-time offender with 11 points, I believe. I've been sent 960 miles from my house for what? There are a ton of medium people here, medium points, etc., etc. With hey, you look like the other guy situation. I believe I'm being set up for sign. Without going into a lot of detail there, he was addressed by one of the guards, I guess, and said, hey, you look like some other guy.
You got that? This part. We found it, this.
Well, you got something I don't have, so I'll hand it over to you and you can fill in the blanks, I guess. So this interaction with this guard, he thinks was sort of a setup to say in public, in front of other people in the yard, hey, you look like one of our guys or one of our, guards or something, to try to maybe imply to others in the population there that he's a snitch or something. Now this is where I'm going to get lost, Cheryl. They stop people from filing BP-8s.
I don't know what that is.
They throw out BP-9s. They do mass incarceration in the hole. The warden has his own set of rules that they follow here. Sound like any other wardens, superintendents that we used to know?
Mm-hmm.
This is hearsay as of now. It's time I figure it out firsthand. Can you tell if there's any Michigan phone numbers calling in here? Like the warden listening in? Again, I was sent here as punishment, as stated before. This is another NNRJ, but on a BOP level. About time to do some NNRJ stuff. Filing a lot of paperwork today. We will see how it goes. BP-8 for transfer will be filed today. Going to mainline for the lawyer number to call. Going to mainline for the missing papers in my and everyone's handbook. Lawyer mail, already filed request. Filing requests about talking to the vigil and talking to a warden today. Asking warden why my phone calls have not been going through until I send an email calling them out. Going to file a request explaining that I miss my son and I'm being kept away from him illegally because the BOP moved me 4 days before my divorce hearing. This is all an ongoing event. I'm talking to the warden today about these events firsthand, filing an email using the PREA email because it is the only one that goes to the Inspector General. Interesting. PREA, Prison Rape Elimination Act, everybody knows what that is. So PREA is supposed to be direct line out in any case to report any kind of sexual assault. There should be a way to contact Inspector General through email for things of importance. I'd like to know why they moved me away from my home, double the 500-mile limit, for what reason. It's time to get it out in the open. Time for someone to ask the judge what was said when he and the prosecutor went ex parte. Time to ask whose orders I am being treated deliberately indifferent. Tell Gross to call for a lawyer call. I guess some of this I'm not going to read. Oh, if I don't send an email daily, then you know I'm in the hole and assume a hunger strike has begun. I don't care what or who says what. I will not accept one tray while in the hole, or if my telephone numbers get canceled. I will not accept one tray if my emails get canceled. I weighed in at 178 pounds. I will not buy 1 ounce of food, only coffee, hygiene, etc. End of story. Thanks for being in my corner. Last one. Tell MTG what's going on. I would love for to get a true date for when she wants me to testify to Congress about the DOC pretrial and how the BOP conditions and the illegal activity. Love y'all, Quagland. So, how would you add to that? Or
I was trying to find, I didn't bring the email that talked about how he looked like a cop at, in Oxford. I'm trying to find that, but I guess that's not it.
I'm not reading.
Morning, Patriots. He wants you to say this, okay? So yesterday, August 13th, hello?
Yeah, nothing much.
Hello? Okay. So yesterday on August 13th at noon lunch, main line, where the warden and all the white shirts are in the courtyard to answer questions and fix issues, this happened. I still say my original reaction was fine, but talking to others that have serious time, and it keeps going out.
Yeah, maybe it's batteries.
Explained how this could have been a life and death experience, still ongoing, and that my second guessing is not without reason. Let me explain. A white shirt yells across the courtyard, "Hey you, turn around." I stop, I turn, "Yes sir. You look like so-and-so and used to work here. You look identical. Hey, doesn't he look like so-and-so? You just got here on the bus yesterday." I immediately replied, "Yeah, all of us white dudes look alike." I told the FBI for 3 years it was my doppelganger that stormed the Capitol, ha ha ha, and I leave. Now looking back on it, I lost sleep. Why? The senior member, seat cop, basically said I look like a cop that used to work here. That's not good, not professional. Could have easily been was overheard by the 100 other people in the courtyard, and now rumors spread like wildfire here, worse than middle school. Imagine it turns into, "Did you hear the ex-cop's brother is here?" Very, very dangerous. I don't know this white shirt. I don't know anyone. There are so many people here with messed up paperwork, and I don't want to be labeled something I'm not. I was told that the situation was so dangerous, I should be 100% let you all know about it. So I am. So, just for your information, I don't have any enemies here, I don't own any money, and I have zero reason to get into a fight. God, I love being in prison. I did not send this to my dad, so don't share with him, and hopefully he's not on. Start of day 2, we were all locked down. I have no idea why. God, I love the low SMH.
What's that mean? SMH?
SMH.
Shaking my
SMH is
head.
shake my head.
I asked you that yesterday too.
It's okay.
Thought it meant save more ham or something.
This one's yours, I have the same one. Aren't you glad you're on distribution?
Yeah, there's a lot of people on that distribution.
Yeah.
Hey, you're the only one on, Maurice.
I saw that.
Oh, the only one making comments. There may be others.
So are we gonna get any calls tonight?
I'm told we are.
Okay, we'll wait.
I asked them to do it at 7:20 and 7:50 and 8:20 and 8:50, but obviously that's not happening.
Well then.
I'll use this until it dies completely. Something else I ran across, there was a federal appeals court has ruled that geofence warrants are unconstitutional, a decision that will limit the use of the controversial search warrants across several U.S. states. The Friday ruling, so that would have been the 9th, August 9th, from the U.S. Court of Appeals for the Fifth Circuit, which covers Louisiana, Mississippi, and Texas, found that geofence warrants are categorically prohibited by the Fourth Amendment, which protects against unwarranted searches and seizures. Civil liberties and privacy advocates applauded the ruling, which effectively makes the use of geofence warrants unlawful across the 3 U.S. states for now. Geofence warrants, also known as reverse search warrants, allow people to draw a shape on a map, allow police to draw a shape on a map, such as over a crime scene, and demand that Google or any other company that collects user locations search its entire bank of location data for any phone or device that was in that area at a specific point in time. Critics have long argued that geofence warrants are unconstitutional because they can be overbroad and include information on entirely innocent people. The court case centers on an armed robbery of a U.S. Postal Service worker in Mississippi in February 2018, in which police used a geofence warrant to identify the individual suspected of the robbery. The Fifth Circuit's opinion comes to a different conclusion than a similar case heard last month in the Fourth Circuit, which covers North Carolina, Virginia, and West Virginia. That ruling found that accessing Google stores of location data does not count as a search and upheld the legality of geofence warrants across those states. In the Fifth Circuit Court, they disagreed and found that police seeking data from Google's vast stores of location data for a criminal suspect does in fact constitute a search. But because the bank of data is so big, and because the entire database has to be scanned, the court ruled that there is no legal authority. There's no legal authority capable of authorizing a search, per a blog post by a law professor, Oren Kerr, analyzing the ruling. The court said in its ruling, its emphasis included, this search is occurring while law enforcement officials have no idea who they are looking for, or whether the search will even turn up a result. Indeed, the quintessential problem with these warrants is that they never include a specific user to be identified, only a temporal and geographic location where any given user may turn up post-search. That is constitutionally insufficient. While the Fifth Circuit ruled that geofence warrants are unconstitutional, the court concluded that the police department had acted in good faith when seeking the warrant for the location data held by Google and upheld the defendant's conviction. The court said, in part because the use of geofence warrants were novel at the time and the department asked other agencies for legal guidance, prior to submitting the warrant, the evidence should not be suppressed in this case. Kerr, in his analysis, said the ruling raises questions of whether any digital warrants for online contents are constitutional. Because tech companies like Google, Uber, Snap, and others collect and store huge amounts of its users' location data and histories on its servers, this data can be obtained by law enforcement. If the data didn't exist, the problem would be moot. The use of geofence warrants has skyrocketed in recent years, at one point amounting to about 1/4 of all US legal demands the company received. Google said late last year that it would begin storing users' location data on their devices, making geofence warrants less useful for law enforcement. It's kind of interesting. But I think that could have major implications on January 6th if that was to be expanded from the Fifth Circuit. And we know that in all of these charging documents, or many of them anyway, that's one of the items they use in there to explain that, yeah, we got phone data and the person was there from this time to that time, and so.
But then even if that spreads all across the country, does that also pertain to DC, because that's its own world?
That's it.
So, from a technical implementation perspective, all those election deniers, the ones that don't believe in the steal,
Yeah.
they're the ones that also claim that geofencing isn't real. Right, because that's how some of the evidence was gathered that the ballot box stuffing was happening, is because they were able to evaluate traffic based on cell phones, and yep, sure enough, you get the same cell phone walking exactly up to that ballot box 10 times in one day. There's something going on there. But all of the news media was saying, oh no, that technology doesn't exist. But we know better than that. The technology does exist. In fact, the government's been using it against the people, to my knowledge, at least as far back as 2015. So there's huge divergence of what people believe and what actually is. Sounds like a Led Zeppelin song.
That's an excellent point, though. I mean, you can use it in one case, but you can't use it in another case. I mean, it's just.
Right, exactly. And there's this, what is it? Reasonable cause thing. I mean, there are people out there, I don't know their names specifically, that can do this at their desk and track an area and cell phones that go into a particular thing, like the map that they were talking about. And so I don't know how the courts are going to handle something that's rapidly become, if it hasn't already become, ubiquitous. I mean, you don't have to be a cop to get the information. So this is going to be an interesting play out to watch. And it's going to be something that we all need to watch because, first of all, we all know they're tracking it. Why would they be doing it? It's amazing. Have you ever looked at your maps history in Google? Everywhere you've ever been with your cell phone is in a map. And it's amazing. It's also stressful to look at and go, I don't even remember being there.
Where do you do this?
On Google Maps.
Yeah.
Everywhere you've ever been, if your cell phone was with you, it's been recorded.
But how do you access that?
In your history on Google, you just log into your account and you go into map history
Never did that.
Yeah, never done
and oh, okay, well, it's a thing, you can do it. I'm
Your
not
phone
gonna.
will also tell you if you go to the same place every week at the same time, it'll
Oh,
tell
no,
you
so
it's
someone
time
else
to
could get
leave.
that info. And
Yeah,
and
it will. You'll get a pop-up on your phone that says it's time to go.
If you could get that info, you would know, yeah,
Yeah.
what
It's around
everybody's
the
doing,
house.
whenever they're doing it.
Yeah.
I have cameras.
So, it's amazing that, just a couple years ago, we had all those election deniers. And by the way, that is the election deniers, the ones that don't think that it happened. They're the ones that are in denial. They don't believe that the technology, God, I hope they've woken up to that at least by now. Jeez, it's in everything. But, yeah. And the game just keeps on playing.
Around my house. See if anybody's there.
Just checking your cameras.
Yeah, you left.
There we go.
Yeah.
Yeah, sneak. So I was gonna bring up something else here, because education and kids and everything is kind of sort of my
This
jam.
is the little thing that's gonna work.
And,
That's Zeus.
It looks like California's at it again. They've decided to spend a lot of federal tax dollars. That's right, they get federal tax dollars. So California schools are gonna start building living accommodations on school-owned properties to house teachers and students. This is K through 12. To house teachers, students, and low-income families on school property.
For what reason?
Because they can. They passed a law, they're gonna spend $10 billion on this stuff. It's called Proposition 2, that they passed apparently. I don't know anybody, and I grew up there, I don't know anybody in California that would have voted for this thing. But apparently it passed anyhow.
Hello, this is a prepaid call from
James.
an inmate at the Washington, D.C. Central Detention Facility. To accept this call, press 0. To refuse, your current balance is $3.82. This call is from a correction facility and is subject to monitoring and recording. Thank you for using Global Tellink.
Hey, James. James? It's Northern Neck Patriots.
Hello, hello, hello. We're on. We're 51 seconds into the call. Can you hear us?
Not hang up and try again.
Can you hear us?
I'm very blunt.
James, are you there? Could have a problem with this tablet or
Or
microphone.
connection or anything, just reset it.
I'm not saying anything, so he couldn't even tell us if he's hearing us.
Right.
I just heard it say thank you for using.
Yeah, I heard it
Mobile
clicking,
Tele.
I believe.
I forgot.
All right, let me make sure I'm connected for that. Call your number, just don't answer. That's working. All right, we'll give it a try.
Called in and lost it.
Number's blocked. They found you.
Well, I was worried about that, but apparently not.
Chris didn't call me yet, so once he does.
It's a done deal.
That might do it.
Hello, this is a prepaid debit call from
Oh, no.
an inmate at the Washington, D.C. Central Detention Facility. To accept this call, press 0. This call is from a correction facility and is subject to monitoring and recording. Thank you for using Global Tellink.
Hello, this is Cheryl from Northern Neck.
Hey Cheryl, this is James Grant. I had tried to call a second ago, but
Yeah.
it cut me off right at the beginning.
Yeah, we heard that. We were wondering where you went.
Yeah, we had you on for about 50 seconds, but we couldn't hear anything. So glad you were able to call back.
Yeah, I used Freddie's number, but I really don't call vigils, but I had to make an exception for you guys. You guys helped me get out of Northern Neck. You guys helped vigils. We were all there, and I think I said before I hold the distinction of being the longest serving J6er at Northern Neck. I think even Christopher Clagland was there before me. He got out a couple months before me. So like I said, I was there for over a year, and thank God I was there first. Because if I was somewhere else and they came to Northern Neck, I would not have made it. But like I said, I was like, oh, I guess this is just what jail is. But no, it was really terrible there, and I knew it was terrible, but I just figured that was jail. But jail could be a lot better than Northern Neck. And like I said, I'm going to talk to my allocution to my judge, and just I feel like I almost have a duty to the people that are still at Northern Neck. People are still there and they're still suffering, and I almost feel like I have to say something. Because we can do so much better. And the fact that federal inmates are sent there is just, that is by far. In this long journey, I went to I think 5 jails total. I was in the Wake County, North Carolina jail, there's another jail in Oxford, North Carolina, Northern Neck, Lewisburg, which is actually a prison, and then the DC jail. And the other ones I give Wake County like a 5. It wasn't very nice. Oxford I give like a 4 or 5. And then DC for me is like, it's a nice situation here being with all J6ers, so that kind of skews it. Lewisburg had good food, but you could kind of feel the energy there, and all the guards were, those federal guards, they don't mess around. They're super serious. They wear sunglasses. I remember once I said to one, like, oh, I don't have enough food on my commissary, bro. And I said something. He's like, I'm not your bro. And like, yeah, they're real uptight there. But these places were all better than Northern Neck, so I would give it 1. And if 0 is possible, I would give it a 0. They would literally train guards So they would make the whole unit and strip search you and check you just to get a guard, to show a guard what it's like. They didn't care that we had just been strip searched or shook down a couple days before. They did it anyways, just to, you know, just to teach that guy how that procedure went. I mean, they don't treat you like humans over there, and it's it's really madness. And you know, afterwards I realized, because I remember once I saw a DC inmate who was really opposed to getting strip searched and like getting stripped, you know, naked, which they were doing the whole pod like that, but he was really, you know, adamant about not doing that. And you know, as I went to other jails, I realized that's super rare, and there's only really when you come in do you get strip searched. But in Northern Neck, I remember there was, I don't know if someone was like dropping something, an illegal, you know, saying I was doing something, but they strip searched me and like 6 other people, and I was in every night. And one of them was like 3 in the morning. They took me out and strip searched me and like 6 other people. And they did this 3 nights in a row, never found anything any of the time. And it was just, they kept doing it. I'm like, what are you guys trying to find? And they never found anything. And I don't know if someone was like messing with me or one of their informants in the pod, but I mean, it was crazy the amount of times. I think I must have been strip searched 30, 40, 50 times in Northern Neck. And other places, you know, almost never. And yeah, just those guards, it's crazy. I don't know if Virginia has more lax laws on nudists. Like, I don't know, but it seems like the other places, I mean, it's not like that here. They, you know, I don't know. It's crazy.
Well,
just everything in Northern Neck was bad.
They have a bad drug problem there. We know that, right? I mean, they've even admitted that in jail board meetings that that's a problem. So, you know, I think Ted Hall was
what problem?
Drug problem.
Oh yeah. Drugs definitely get in there. They're worried about it. You know, I don't know if her name's Miss Jones now, and I don't know if she's still in there, but yeah, it's everything's bad in there, and yeah, the place is just a total nightmare in every way. And the bad part of the jail, you know, I've described it many times as the layers of hell, whereas J-Pod is like purgatory, and it's my personal favorite. It's terrible, but the day passes faster in there because there's so many just manic people, and it's just madness in there. And like I said, it's built like a concentration camp, and there's 80 people stacked on top of each other. But the day, hold on, hey, can you guys not talk here? I'm on the vigil. Excuse me, I'm on the vigil. Sorry, I had to stop someone from having a conversation right next to me. Yeah, no, I mean, that was my favorite pod, J-Pod, but the other pods are, and Mason Corson had the, you know, the bad fortune to be stuck on that side of the jail for several months. And I remember I got sent over to A-Pod once to the bad part of the jail, the punishment side, and I said to him, I saw him, and he said, oh yeah, this place isn't even like a nightmare anymore. It's hell. It's hell. And I found it really funny, because, you know, when you're in that shared misery, that's one of the only things you have left is laughter. But, just everything was bad. And I know there'll be a lot of inmates that I guess use meth because their teeth would be rotting really bad, and the smells there. That's the first thing you notice is that a lot of people had really bad breath, and yeah, it was madness. And it's sad too because a lot of people just have drug problems, and they're sent to Northern Neck where you are literally tortured. I mean, you are hungry at all times. If you, like here in Northern Neck, in DC, you do need you need a little commissary everywhere except in the federal system. They actually feed you enough that you can almost live without commissary. You can save food. There's more than enough food there. I mean, people eat everything on the trays in Northern Neck. They eat every last bit of food, the vegetables, the and they're gross vegetables. I'm talking soggy, corn, that says not for human consumption, institutional use only. They eat every last bit. Like people, there's no food that goes to waste because they don't give you enough. And you got to make it from the last meal at 5 o'clock till the next meal, you know, the last meal at 4:30, I think, I recall, to the next meal like 6. So you got to make it like 14 hours without any food. The last meal you had was tiny. I mean, you will starve if you don't have commissary there. It is, and of course the commissary is extremely overpriced. So it's torture in every way. The guards have no respect for anybody. It's got a lot of similarities with the gulags in Russia, which was, I don't know if I told you guys this, but I read a book on the gulags, ironically, when I was at Northern Neck. And in the book it said, you know, they would take people in trains to the gulags, the Russian prison camps, and it would be like very young guards, and they wouldn't want to give the prisoners water because then they would have to stop to let everyone out to pee, and it would be more work. So it wasn't always like malicious. It was, young kids who didn't want to do a lot of work. And I'm just reading this and I'm finding so many similarities with Northern Neck. Most of the guards are young kids. I mean, younger than all the inmates. It's like 19, 20, 21-year-old kids that are just, they haven't lived enough life. They're not professional about things. They don't, not empathetic ones either. I don't know if that's part of their training program. But, I mean, if you don't have a towel, if you're not given something at booking, the amazing effort it's going to require to get that thing, you'll have to ask. I remember that everyone was shocked because they finally brought me a second jumper, and it was like some other item, but I think it was a pair of shoes and a second jumper. And people were like, oh, how did he get that? And they said, well, he filled out 7 request forms, and it took like 7 times before they finally brought it to me. I think I told you guys I wore the same pair of underwear for the first 7 to 14 days before I could get commissary. DJ Rodriguez gave me a shirt and I wore that. I mean, you gotta live like a Viking over there, and yeah, just stuff had so much more value there. Like the soups. So we were making what are called Dempsey doodles that David Dempsey taught us how to make here, and we took a seasoning pack from the ramen, and because I did time in Northern Neck, I'm taking the empty ramen with no packet, no seasoning packet. Does anyone want this? And Brian Smith goes, no, it's like 30 cents. No one wants that. It's open and the seasoning's out. You can probably throw that out. But I had that Northern Neck ingrained in me, which is the soup is like $1.50, and even without the seasoning, it still has value over there because people are starving. So even to this day, Tom, I'm still scarred from Northern Neck.
Having nightmares.
And I'm sorry?
You're having nightmares about it.
Yeah, no, really, and I've been trying to get out of it, but I think I told you guys you're supposed to spit in the toilet in jail for sanitary reasons, but I've actually started spitting in the sink again, just because, I've had some dreams that, I got sent to sing in a month, and I got to think, 31 months in, I did pretty well at trial. I got to hope I'm near the end of the road here, so I'm thinking I can start spitting in the sink again. I don't want to get out and, have weird habits, so I think I'm going to, I don't know, I had a dream last night where I had to go to a bank, and it was like closed, and I couldn't withdraw money or something, so maybe my brain knows something that I don't know. But, I'm one of the longest, in this unit, I'm the longest serving J6er. I've been in for 31 months. I do not remember being free at all, but I do want to say thank you to you guys. You guys helped us get out of Northern Neck. I remember when there was a whole lot of J6ers there. It was I think like 20 or 30 of us at one point. We were all suffering together. And your vigil helped get us out of there, helped bring attention to us, and I'm just really thankful. And I always will be to you guys.
Well, that's great.
Thank you guys.
You made me think of something. One of your friends, Patriots, that has been out for a little bit. We were at the vigil in D.C. and somebody had a plate of cookies that we were going to toss out because nobody seemed to want them, and he had to take them. He said, I can't let food go to waste. I'm sorry. I've just been through this. I can't let it go.
Well, if it was who I think it was, I think you would have taken them anyway because he's like that. He's pretty cheap, so if you know him, I think you would have taken him whether he went to jail or not. But yeah, no, it's a wild experience. I'm just wondering, like I had a dream the other night where I was petting a dog, and I realized well, there was a drug dog in here that searched through our stuff when they moved us they moved us next door to another unit. But yeah, there's just so many things, and like the echoes of this experience after 3 years. I mean, I guess I kind of remember being free, but so much of it I don't. And just closing a door. I'm scared to close any door because they lock. So closing the door, stuff like that. It's just going to take a real long time, I think, to unlearn these behaviors. I'm kind of hoping my brain just forgets it all as trauma and I go right back to it. But yeah, I mean, I did about the same amount of time at 31 months. I think Brandon Fellows was somewhere near there. So I don't know if he's having trouble. He enjoyed the experience a lot more than me, I think. He likes camping and that kind of stuff. So, I'm a germaphobe, so I don't like it. The other day I did a push-up. And we're doing burpees where you do a push-up, come down, put your hands up in the air.
They're hard.
And my shirt kind of flew open and my stomach hit the ground, and I got 2 pimples right where, like it hit the ground once, and later that day, I guess my pores were open, but I got two pimples on my stomach right there. So the jail's very dirty. It grosses me out. I live in a constant state of just like everything is really gross. But I think I've told you I view it like a really bad camping trip that has gone on way too long. But I don't know. They pushed my sentencing back. It was supposed to be on August 8th. It's now on September 9th. So
Isn't it 19?
you know, we'll see. Or September 19th. I'm sorry. Yeah. Thank you, Cheryl. Yeah, it's on September 19th, and we'll see. You know, I got to think. You know, trial went pretty well. I beat my biggest charge, and if, you know, if the 1512 is dropped, that'll be most of the charges. So I'm really hoping that near the end, you know, based on the results of my trial, it kind of showed that I had to go to trial. It wasn't really afforded a great plea deal. Not that I wouldn't have, you know, I would have taken one. I didn't have any burning desire to go to trial. I just felt like I was put in a tough position where, you know, they wanted me to plead guilty to conduct I didn't do, and I was acquitted of. But you know, we're gonna see. I think Tom, you met Judge Cobb, or you saw her.
Right.
She has the same feelings I do. That she seems like, you know, you've seen a lot of judges, but she does seem like she has a big heart. And I just, given everything I've gone through, I just, you know, I would like to think, especially.
You have 1 minute remaining.
You know, especially going through Northern Neck in 13 months, and, you know, then I spent the hottest summer on record in Lewisburg. Well, some people just stayed in D.C. the whole time with Jay Pictures, which would have been really nice. But, yeah, I think you had some of the same thoughts that I had, Tom, right?
Yeah, and I hope that holds true. You know, I mean, I do believe that things have got to change here eventually. That they're going to try to hang on to that 1512 in some way, but yeah, it's got to crack.
Right. Yeah, we'll see. And I definitely hope so too. And yeah, I guess we'll see. But I want to thank you guys so much for getting us out of Northern Neck. And I did, at the time too. By the end of it, I was like comfortable in Northern Neck. I was just like, this is all I know. I've been here for a year, but I did want to get out, and thank God I did. And thank God for you guys and everything you do. So I want to thank you guys. And you know, as long as I do a vigil, I'll call this one. So thanks, Tom.
That sounds great.
Thank you for using Global Telling.
All right, James Grant. Most people know James, but James was in law school, or was getting ready to go into law school when he was arrested, by the way.
Well, I just want to give his inmate number. It's 386739, and his give, send, go is Free James. I think it's just Free James.
And once his sentencing is on the 19th?
September 19th at 10 p.m.
10 a.m. Thank you.
That was interesting what he said. I wrote it down. Well, I wrote down the strip searching too. He talked about that, but I don't remember saying 40 or 50 times, and that they were doing it just for the heck of it to teach as training. Now think about that. I didn't want to take any of his time. I was just passing around a photo of the little signs that are around town. Hiring jail officers, earn up to $50,000 annually. I think I'm going to do a little meme on that one, because I'm going to put the job requirements on there. IQ level, low. Motivation, low.
Put a mole in there.
Narcissistic tendencies, high.
Put an MMP mole
Yeah,
in there,
I don't
have
know.
someone go apply.
Yeah.
I'm not kidding.
Well, they have the new hires this month.
I'm saying.
But we know the turnover is so high.
Well, so yeah, they talked about it quite a bit at the meeting this month. So they had 9 hires, 3 departures. So that's a net gain of 6. But for the year, they're still down.
But they're all officers.
Year over year, they're not all of them. There were 6 of them were officers, and 3. One was medical, and 2 were some. What was pointed out is that the hiring pool is shrinking. They've been able to continue to hire people. They got a turnover rate that's insane. But they've managed to continue to hire people, but it's taking longer and longer and longer because the pool is shrinking. No matter how much money they want to put on that sign that Tom just put up, that people aren't applying. In fact, they talk about one couple that was hired back in May, a married couple was hired, and they didn't even make it through the 3-day session before they left.
Got a better offer.
They got a better offer somewhere else. They had moved into the area from another state. They took a job there temporarily. They got a better offer and didn't wait to leave.
Run.
And the story just goes on. It's almost like, you know, the management there at the jail will tell you the same story that we're telling you, just with her management spin on it. The fact of the matter is that people with good conscience won't stay. They may go in there thinking, oh, this is cool, you know, I'll just be a guard, walk around, look at the bars, and rattle somebody's cage every once in a while. They get in there and find out that the place is disgusting, like James was just talking about, and they wrestle with themselves and they leave. So, you know, when you've got somebody needs to ask this question, maybe I'll do it next time. But what's the average employment period for a worker? And go ahead and include Captain, what's his nuts?
English.
Captain English, who's been there for his entire working career. And I bet you the average, even counting somebody that's been there for a couple of decades, is still going to be less than 2 years.
So tell them how long the meeting was last week.
Oh, the meeting was 19 minutes. Yeah, because Fisher wasn't there. Fisher was the co-chair. What's his name? I only see him from the back of his head, so.
19 minutes. They started 10 minutes late. We got out by 4:30.
Yep.
They still doing the food?
They didn't do it until the end. So Cheryl and I walked out just as they were putting the food out there, and everybody else was there. I'm like, and when the gavel dropped to close the session, it was the only comment I made, and it wasn't even welcome. I said, just for informational purposes, this was a record. Everybody cracked up except for the guy that was the co-chair.
They didn't know what to do. They sat
They
there.
didn't. They looked like deer in headlights. They're like, okay, so what do we do now? But then the food was out there, so I figured, you know, it's got to be better to eat at the jail than it is at a local restaurant.
Well, that's interesting, though. At least before, we got to see them sitting there, you know, licking their lips and gnashing their teeth and eating their wings and whatever they were doing before they'd start the meeting. Daryl Fisher always had his mouth full, his cheeks full, and then usually 5 minutes or so late, he'd put his plate aside to start the meeting while everybody else was chewing away and walking in and out. Now they're going to have a meeting after the meeting because they're going to sit there and eat, and they're going to talk about the things that they need to. What do you think?
I think I'm not giving it a pass. I think it sucks, but I also think it's human nature that if you're sitting in a room with people, you're going to talk. So, yes, they're going to do that, and they're going to do so illegally.
Well, that was my point, and hopefully hopefully they don't. I mean, they have lots of opportunities to talk jail business outside of that jail board meeting anyway. As you well know, with supervisors and your involvement, you two with the supervisors meetings, there's conversations that go on all the time. But as long as it's, what was the rule? 3 or more makes it a meeting?
If the chairman of a board wants to talk to all of them, he has to do it one at a time, because him and one other person is 2, and as soon as they go to 3, and that's because it's a 5-member board, they go to 3, that's quorum, and that's an official meeting. You got to have public announcements and all that stuff. But if you keep it to just a couple, and of course, if you have a 7-member board, then the number is 3. You can talk to a couple people at a time. But in general,
I don't trust them. I just don't trust them. And our new superintendent uses words now like, I'm happy to answer any questions that the board may have. My heart sunk. Like, you didn't just say that. She did. And she's starting to talk longer. I'm not liking it. Not liking it a lot. So, and I mentioned those things for folks that don't know what the heck I'm talking about. The former superintendent that didn't believe in constitutional rights or anything like that, and thought that it was okay to abuse people because that's the minimum amount of force necessary to do his job in spite of Supreme Court rulings. Eventually, I guess everybody ends up going there, or they can't hire anybody that stays long enough that will actually have a compass that points in true north.
You didn't mention his name, I thought you were gonna say.
I wasn't going to say his name if I don't have to. I didn't say her name either. So, yeah, it's a mess. But the reality is that NNRJ, as ugly as it is, it's, you know, there's other places that are just as ugly, at least based on the research that I've done. And Petersburg is another one, and then you can go to other states and they've got ugly ones. The point is that it's the entire system. We can look at the symptom through the window of NNRJ, and that's what it is. It's a window into the system and its symptoms. But that's not the point of attack that we need to go after. It's the universal system in every state, and then the federal system. They have to be reformed.
Yeah, I think it's the core Bill of Rights that's trampled on with everything. One of these, I mean, James's comment being strip searched 40 to 50 times in a how long was he there?
I think it was
31 months, I think.
Yeah.
He was there for just over a year, and that's a lot. That's one heck of a lot.
Year and a half.
13 months.
He was incarcerated 31 months.
Yeah, that's right.
Hello, this is a prepaid call from
James Gray.
an inmate at the Washington, D.C. Central Detention Facility. To accept this call, press 0. Your current balance is $3.71. This call is from a correction facility and is subject to monitoring and recording. Thank you for using Global Tellink.
Hello.
Hello.
Hey, how we doing?
Doing good. Who's this?
Can you hear us good?
Yeah, who do we have here?
This is Bob Turner and Greg Purdy. How we doing tonight?
Doing good. Bob Turner and who?
Greg Purdy.
Greg Purdy, we got a uncle and nephew duo.
Yeah.
I'm Uncle Bob.
Yes.
My nephew Gregory.
All right, hey.
Hey, nice to talk to you guys. So this is Tom, and we've got Cheryl and Maurice here at the table, and we've got a couple other people here, 3 other people here. So listening in, and of course you're online, and we're live streaming. So how are you doing tonight?
We're doing pretty good as we can be. You know, spirits are high. We're getting excited as we're seeing the world and seeing the truth, and we're excited for all this to be over soon.
Yeah.
We're excited for all of it to be over soon.
Good.
You know, when you're put in situations like this, you have to make the best of it.
Yeah.
Luckily, we're surrounded by a great group of guys. Everybody's got each other's back in here. We're all good buddies, and that makes a world of a difference in here, let me tell you.
Yeah.
It does.
That is great. That is great. I'm so glad that you guys got to stay in that pod together and they didn't allow any of the others in. That would have just been so awful.
Oh man, it would have been terrible. You know, they try to get them hit or miss every week. They come in here with these papers. They try to force us to sign. They act all buddy with you, like they've been there for you. And it's like, listen, I can't even get food without, you know, rat fishing it with my friends to be the first. But, you know, I can't even get food, clean food or medical attention.
Simple dental call.
Yeah, simple dental call, nothing. You acted like my best friend because you want me to sign for your own purposes. It's crazy, you know, but you do what you can do, you know?
Yeah. Well,
So we stick together in here. The way they treat us, if we don't stick together, they'd be taking advantage of all of us.
well, thank God for that you guys have that support. So what kind of news are you seeing that's making you excited? Are you watching the usual news, or are you seeing stuff come in from other sources?
You know, news coverage in here is limited. Something interesting I saw was RFK might be endorsing Trump. He might be endorsing Trump and hopping on with him. And Trump might give him a position somewhere in the campaign or somewhere in the cabinet. Did you guys see anything about that?
What's the name again that endorsed him?
RFK.
RFK.
The nephew, right?
Oh.
Yeah, the nephew JFK. Kennedy.
Right.
I didn't see
We're
that.
hearing that he's dropping out and possibly endorsing.
Yeah. Check it out now or after we hop off.
Yeah, we'll check it out.
I think he met with him last night.
We'll check it out right now. I knew they were talking, and I knew Trump was saying positive things about him, and that actually would be great, because I think that RFK was the only one that I think a lot of people thought had any chances here on that side of the aisle, you know. And so it would have stolen votes, I believe, from Trump. But yeah, that's good. That's good. We're looking it up.
We'll put it this way. He went as far as to say, RFK said this. He said that the Democratic Party of today, his uncle would have never recognized.
Yep.
And he said he will not be endorsing Kamala. And he said he has been talking to the Trump campaign. And it looks like they're finalizing stuff as we speak. So,
I heard
he's
yesterday
been
that
one of the
he
most
was talking
pivotal
to this
and shockwaving candidates, you know, since 19, what was it, with Al Gore?
I know he also said his goal is to beat Kamala. I know everyone talks that interview.
He said that too.
That article.
To the beater.
Yeah, so he's on our side.
But he's been affected the polls a lot. I mean, he's got at least 10%. So.
Yeah, I did see that quote from RFK, that said that it's not the same party as his father or uncle would have. I saw that too, and it's true. It's completely different.
Yeah, it's very true. It's crazy too, because they were liberals. It was a liberal party back then. It was they don't abide by their original rules or ideologies anymore.
Yeah.
They make it up as they go. They're trying to. Yeah.
And they make the rules up as they go. Imagine if you were a Democratic supporter that really was behind Biden for whatever reason that might have been, and they suddenly just retire him early and put in somebody else.
Yeah. There you go. Vote for her.
And I hear that Biden is still very annoyed. He's very angry that happened. He just got on the campaign trail with her for the first time yesterday or the day before maybe. And, you know, Trump joked on Twitter, or on Truth Social to say, and was like, oh, how funny would it be if Biden came out of the DNC and voiced his real concerns. And I don't know if we'll do that, but it's crazy how the whole party can flip-flop in a matter of seconds, like you said.
Right. And I think Tim Walz is in danger as well, because
Huge danger.
that guy's got a very sordid past, and just he's a true communist, I believe.
It's all coming out too. Yeah, we're seeing that.
Yeah. Well, that's good, and you know why it's coming out? It's coming out because we've got a new news source, and it's podcasters, and it's X, and it's people that are going outside of the traditional media, and anybody that listens to that these days is not getting the right story, but a lot of people are waking up. That's very positive.
I agree with you 100%. A lot of people are waking up to seeing the truth, to seeing that you know, the right person in power can make a real difference. You know, it's and everything, like you said, everybody's waking up. And they're showing their true colors with the way they're acting with Kamala and bringing her in and all these little stunts they're pulling. They're showing their true colors, and anybody with any common sense is going to sniff it right out and see the truth.
Did you guys get to hear or read any of the Trump and Elon chat, the fireside chat that they had for over an hour the other night?
Had a couple people come up and say a couple things to us. Unfortunately, we weren't able to hear any of it firsthand, but of what people told us, I guess there was over 1 billion people.
Yeah, the same amount of people watched that interview. That's the most of us that we got.
You know?
Yeah.
It's like 50% of the world's population, no big deal.
Yeah, exactly. And Elon said at one point that he felt that, you know, for people, he was feeling like it was directed to people that were moderates or undecided. And how can you get a good view of somebody if all you ever hear are sound bites or press conferences or so on? And he just wanted to have a conversation and let people hear the real Donald Trump. And himself, frankly, I came away with a lot more respect for Elon Musk out of that thing too.
Did you hear that crazy thing where they're trying to come up with charges for
Elon?
The EU has already filed charges.
Yeah, that he had a letter or something with the EU, and they were trying to stop him somehow, wanted to figure out how they could stop him. But I mean, heck, you know, you see what's going on over there in England, the UK now. They're arresting people for thought crimes now, for posting things on Facebook.
And they're threatening to come after Americans.
Yes, I saw an article about that. That's crazy.
That's scary. We got to keep that away.
We got to keep that away. I agree.
Yeah, that's nothing we can tolerate over there.
Yeah.
That's scary.
I think the whole world is counting on the United States at this point. They really are.
I just wrote a post about that.
It's our last stand.
They are. They really, really are. I mean, what happened to freedom of speech, right? You're not allowed to post something now.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we have high hope. We have high hope, and we know God will prevail. And I think there's something a lot bigger at play here. That's going to bring the right justice, and it'll come soon. And you know, I think Trump is very smart, and he's got everything covered.
He's playing chess right now. They're playing checkers. He's playing chess.
Game going on right now.
Let's hope so.
And we have to keep high hopes. We have to stay positive. If you look for the negative, you're going to find the negative.
Yep. You know, you guys are in sitting behind bars there. I got to tell you, you guys are some of the most inspirational people I've ever talked to. Just the attitudes that you have going through those horrible situations, having your freedom taken away, can't see your family, you know, the financial burdens, everything else, and yet to hear you guys every Friday night when we do this, your words of encouragement and wisdom are just amazing to me. So thank you guys.
Brother, thank you so much. And honestly, right back at you, because right before this call, you know, I was just talking to Beaver in here. He calls in a lot all the time. Well, we call him Beaver. And he's Grant.
Yeah.
James Grant. And he said, Greg, you know, those guys at Northern Next, he's like, they care so much. I'm like, they actually care about the well-being of us. Thank God for them. Thank God for everybody who takes a second to have us in our thoughts, because we don't really have a voice in here, and you guys help make things that much better. So
you guys are our only outside voice.
Thank you guys. You know, I think for all of America, whether you're Republican, Democrat, Independent, whatever, you love this country. We're supposed to all be families. We're supposed to all be supportive of each other. And that's what Americans do. That's helping your neighbor.
Yeah, we're all neighbors.
And we got your stuff back now. And can't wait to give you everything possible to get out of here.
Get out.
Yeah, we're gonna do that. We're all gonna get together and have a big party.
Yes.
Yes. I hope the beach is grilling up.
I hope that day comes soon as well. So.
We do too. Yeah, and it will be. It will be. Yes. Well, we're all positive about that.
Yeah.
Hey, have you guys seen any copies of the Northern Neck Sentinel floating around in there?
Yeah, we did. I think I got one about a month ago. And I think you guys were standing in a line. A picture of you guys. One guy had a suit on. Another person had a shirt.
What was it for? They were talking about the kids and
Yeah, that was us. That was Brandon Fellows and Tom and Cheryl and Maurice and Carol. We were all there.
Yeah, Fellows.
Brandon Fellows, J6.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, what I wanted to see is, if you're interested, I can put a request in to have those sent to you guys if you want.
Oh, that's amazing.
Okay. All right. I'll put that request in.
What would you need from us? Would you need our numbers, or would you need?
We
Well, you
have
got
them,
them.
right? You
Yeah,
have-
we have your numbers.
Okay.
Yeah, we got your numbers. That's all we need. We got the address. It's just like, that's all we need to do is give that to the distribution department and they'll send them out.
Yeah, we love newsletters. Yeah.
Love to check out your newsletter.
Yeah, well, Cheryl, you gotta thank
Newsletters, we love it
for
all.
the newsletters and the other letters, because she's writing like, what, 30 a week these days or something?
Yeah, well, I usually make the copies of it and send the articles on paper, so that's what you get from me. So that's what you probably saw with the from Northern Neck Patriots.
Yeah, anything you guys want to send, we love it. We love reading them. Looking at what you guys are up to, like, you know, all the great things you're doing. You know, don't send us all letters.
All right, sounds good.
You have 1 minute remaining. Hey guys, just want to take a second to say thank you again. Thank you so much for taking the time, and I always like calling in with you guys, and thanks for being such great true Americans.
Yeah, there's some different voices out there that support us and remembering us. Because I feel like without you guys, we'd be forgotten. So we really appreciate it.
It's good talking to you.
In the world,
Yeah, and thanks for calling us. It makes our nights possible, so thanks for getting on the phone.
Yeah, we'd like to hear you're okay.
Definitely, 100%.
It's gonna be so cool with you in person.
Yes, yeah, can't wait for
You'll
this.
be like, hey, remember we were talking in jail every Friday night?
Yeah.
Put it behind us, yeah.
Well, you guys enjoy the rest of your night, enjoy the weekend, and we'll talk again next weekend.
All right, God
Yes,
bless you.
indeed, thank you.
God bless you.
God bless. Enjoy. Thank you.
Thank you for using Global.
So that was Greg Purdy, and his inmate number is 390028, and his uncle's name is Robert Turner, and his inmate number is 390029. So back-to-back numbers, 28 and 29.
I gave them their answer, but so everybody else knows, last month there were headlines about RFK reaching out to the Trump campaign.
Mm-hmm.
Yesterday there were headlines about RFK reaching out to the Kamala campaign. And apparently today there's one headline that he's reached out to both and only Trump has replied.
He sounds like a rat swimming to me. What the heck?
Well, they're keeping him off the ballots in some states, and they're just making it very hard for him.
Well, with the Harris campaign, he's supposed to go off the ballot. That's the agreement, and endorse them. If he goes to the Trump campaign, he's going to endorse Trump and get a position in his cabinet or when he goes to the White House. Sounds like he's manipulating for a position to me.
I mean, yeah,
I don't know what's going on.
That goes on all the time though, right? Tit for tat in Washington, D.C.
That's what it looks like just from those two articles.
So we could tell about that. So the reason why that phone call only cost how much? 17 cents?
No, the first call was 11 cents.
11 cents.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, wait a second.
So the FCC has passed a ruling, and the jails won't be able to charge anymore. Hang on here, didn't mean to do that. They're not going to be able to charge what they have been. They've been charging 21 cents a minute for the calls, and recently they came down with a ruling that they extended the effective date from 25 to April of 26 before they actually implement it, but they won't be able to charge more than 7 cents
A minute.
a minute,
More than 7.
not more than 7.
And
And everybody's thinking, oh, that's going to help out the inmates. That's going to help out the inmates. No, the people that are managing that budget and providing the required services to the inmates will make budgetary-based decisions that have nothing to do with the inmates. So it's not going to help the inmates, but that was the cover that this ruling was passed under, is that it's supposed to help the inmates get more time and so on and so forth, and it's actually going to hurt them because somebody has to pay for the monitoring. And that's expensive.
Well,
I don't follow what you're saying. Who's gonna pay for that? If it's 7 cents a minute, I'm not following you.
Your phone
So
calls-
when an inmate makes contact outside using digital media, that's phone, that's network, it's 7 cents a minute.
Right,
Or that's what it's going to be.
right.
Currently, it's 21 cents a minute.
Right.
So it costs, and there's no rule saying that they can't charge less than the 21 cents a minute. They can't charge more than 21 cents a minute now. And that's going to be rolled back to 7 cents a minute.
The calls are monitored, so
It's gonna increase.
Hello, this is a prepaid call from
Benjamin Burlew.
an inmate at the Washington, D.C. Central Detention Facility. To accept this call, press 0. To refuse this call, your current balance is $2.01. This call is from a correction facility and is subject to monitoring and recording. Thank you for using Global Tellink.
Hey Tom, how's it going?
hey,
Hey,
who we got?
Hi, this is Ben and Mike.
Ben and Mike.
Ben and Mike. Hi,
Yep.
guys.
So we're running into an issue over in D.C. They blocked Nicole's number from everybody. Nobody can get through to her.
wow.
Oh, no.
Yeah, we don't know why they've done it, but they did it, and nobody can call her now.
Wow. So nobody's gotten out tonight at all then?
We finally did, but I'm going to leave that name a little bit quiet.
Yeah, yeah,
So
roger
that
that.
maybe nothing happens.
Yeah.
How's it going, Tom? This is Mike here. I just wanted to take a moment to say hello to you all out there in Northern Neck. God bless you, Patriots. God bless our Republic. It's been a while. Just wish the best for everyone out there. God bless. And take her away, Tom.
Well, Mike, thanks for Mike and Ben, thanks for calling, and we're real happy. Last Friday we didn't have any calls at all, so you know that's the reason we're here is because it's for you guys to get your voices out. So
Yeah, I think what's going on right now is they're hammering everybody so hard from the things that we talk about on the visuals that it's making people really shy. Plus, we're down to 16 people now,
Okay.
so we're real short on people, and some of the people just have no desire to have any of their story out there, and the ones that do
Very apprehensive.
kind of been threatened by the government.
yeah, I often think about that because there's a few of you that are the callers that we hear from over and over again, and I know there's others that we almost never hear from or don't. And I've often wondered about that. If it's, you know, some people just are more shy than others, you know, but others are maybe just don't want to do it. But
Intimidated. That's what it's.
yeah, you guys
Yeah,
are.
like you. Go ahead, Tom. I'm sorry.
It's the phones, no worries. Yeah, so we appreciate that you guys are willing to do it.
And we saw Brandy last night or the night before, Ben. So I guess you had a nice visit.
Yeah, did get to see my wife and my son today, and saw them outside the visual last night. I assume what's going on here in D.C. is the fact that I had court yesterday, and we were talking about the conditions that were over at CDF, which I will not say on here, but and those conditions were relayed in court itself and put on record. And then my wife reiterated that last night. And then after that, a gentleman named Brandon Fellows came back on and reiterated what he had gone through in 2022 with the videos that I think were released at that time about certain things in the cell itself, which I'll try to keep not say it out loud, but if whoever listened last night would be able to hear it. And then a gentleman inside the jail this week had something inside of his food, which I'll try to keep quiet too, but it had something to do with the same finest four-legged critters that DC has to offer.
Well,
We heard that before.
yeah, but you're right. I mean, you guys know what you're doing then, and you do have to be careful what you say, because we have seen it not only used in the trials, but also in sentencing. You know, the fact that you guys are trying to get your voice out, they seem to feel like that is some kind of mark against you, which just does not make sense.
Well, it appears that they're taking GoFundMe's down too right now. GoFundMe's are taken away again. They're just taking people's money, and it seems like that has to stop. It looks like people are back at it again, trying to really hurt financially the people that are in here.
That's true too. I just want to take an opportunity to, Cheryl, was that you? I want to piggyback your inquiry there to Ben about his visit today with Sister Brandy. I'm just happy for the two of them and the entire family, just for them to have that moment. I spent a lot of time with Ben, and we talked about a lot. So today, for him, to see the inner joy in him today was fantastic to see with us. And I look forward to the day he has an opportunity to do that again with respect to others out there, Tom, like you mentioned. It's a mixed bag. You know, some are a little apprehensive, perhaps not that they're antisocial, but they just have their own purposes. Others are hesitant for reasons Ben mentioned with respect to their cases, that sort of thing. I myself, on the DC vigil, I took an opportunity to use my calls as an opportunity to kind of share some things that I've learned over the years as they relate to direct, factual government corruption kind of things. I never really spoke about my case per se. Really didn't care to. Really don't care how long they sentence me. But at the same time, I was never shy about saying what I was saying with full vigor. So, and with that, I'll turn it back over to Ben. But before I do, Ben and I have been speaking, again, like I said, extensively about a number of things. And we've been speaking most recently about assembling a tandem here between the two of us to start. I've been absent from calls for a while. I'm taking some time off. But we're talking about getting out here on a tandem and addressing some of these further issues that I kind of had in mind and never got to. So I think between the two of us, interesting information. Stay tuned in the weeks to come. I'll turn it back over to Ben.
That sounds great. That sounds great.
Yeah, these guys are getting a little rowdy in here. They won't get on the visual, so they'll sit in here and yell while everybody else is.
Well, it's like, well, you know, you remember how it was in 6th grade, right? When you had a snowfall on Thursday night and you knew you had no school for the next 3 days. Well, we got midnight rep tonight, so we'll give them a little reprieve on this one, brother Ben.
Yeah, they get pretty rowdy in here sometimes. It's entertaining, but yeah, what Mike was speaking on really was that spending the time to educate people, not just on what's going on here, but educate people on the reason why we're in this situation overall. what the Five Eyes have done, what the government's done to attack that, some of the operations that have been kind of taken off the table that people don't really talk about. Some of the amendments to the Constitution that they put out there, some of the new laws that they've done from 90 on. There's just been so much that our government has done to enslave its people with propaganda, and not just propaganda, with frequency of the unknown world or the unseen world. Every time we turn on that TV or that radio or we turn on our cell phone, you're being propagandized, whether good or bad. And understanding where that comes from and understanding the reason for it, a lot of people have no clue about.
Well said.
Yeah.
Tom, you want to add to that?
Well, I agree with you. I mean, I'm thinking about a lot of the areas where that happens, but you know what, the part that is really alarming is how it's happening so early in our schools, in our public school systems, is where it starts. And yeah, so it's something we definitely got to work on.
Well, a lot of that goes back to parents choosing idolatry over their children. Choosing the idolatry of money and a nice house and vacations. And look, not everybody has to work. Not everybody has to. If you do the right things and you prepare yourself for that family orientation, and you can make sure somebody's home with your children, you can teach your own children. That's the way the founders set it up. The founders set it up for mom and dad to teach, not for the government to teach.
Right. That's what I call it. I call it the hamster wheel of life, man. That's what I call it, right? We've gotten so conditioned over the years and over the decades, and how we can say a century easy, right? Easy once we start getting into the nuts and bolts about some stuff. And Ben's exactly right. You know, it's those old traditional Americana, American values, right? It's Sunday dinner. It's a faith in God. It's a spreading of God's word. It's humanitarianism. It's being there for your fellow man. The one next to you. We're not talking about just your brother or your sister or your mother or your father. We're talking about your neighbor 6 doors down. You know, we're talking about the guy in the grocery store who's carrying bags and you can't handle them all. You know, if everybody would just do their part to just reach out just a little bit more often, make a conscious effort to reach out to everyone. Things in place, and I think we have a commander-in-chief in place who is going to present us the opportunity to do that. And I would just like to encourage and suggest to everyone out there, not just listening, but spread the word that it's coming. So if you want to be a part of it, let's get on this Americana train and enjoy it together. It's going to be beautiful.
Yeah, one of the things to think about, Tom, is in 2020, Supreme Court voted 9-0. 9-0, not 6-3, 9-0. There's 2 executive branches before Trump left office. There's the commander-in-chief and there's the president of the United States. 2 executive officers. Then he leaves office, he gets the 4th ruffle, and goes right back on to Air Force One. So there's a lot of things that if you pay attention to it, you understand the Uniform Code of Military Justice, you understand the Law and Order Manual, you can really see what's going on in our country. It goes back to Derek Johnson, some of the stuff we talked about before, but having that realization of a continuity of government, a true continuity of government, and what's allowed since Obama was in office, he allowed for that propagandized nature to happen in our country. And when you're at a time of war, everything's propaganda. Everything is.
Right, and that's what this 5th generation warfare is all about, right? Which is a war is going on right now, and it's for our minds and our hearts, and I believe it's communist driven, and they're going to try to take over without firing a shot. They're pretty far into it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, with that, Tom, the Bible tells us that 5th generation warfare started the moment that hell was captured and the keys were taken by Christ. He says to repent means to change your mindset. So if we're talking about the capturing of the mind and the actual time that 5th generational warfare started 2,000 years ago, the moment of the cross, he went to the cross, he conquered the cross, he conquered the grave, he came back, he gave us an option of sovereign choice in our own minds to choose to open up our minds to our heart at that point. In Revelation 3:20 it says, I stand at the door and knock. He's waiting to sup with you. If he's talking to the church, he's talking to us. And if he's talking to us, he's already inside of us. What's he trying to get into? He's trying to get into our mind, our will, and our emotions. And if we can give those over to Christ, we can start to see some of this unseen world. Vision 2:2 talks about the unseen world controlled by the father of disobedience. And if we stay on that little merry-go-round there, and we start to think about how much of the unseen world is controlling us, and if you can cut that out of your life, you'll start to open your eyes and your mind to what Christ truly meant for us to open our heart to.
Very, very well said, Ben. You know, just to piggyback that, I can't sit and go toe to toe with my brother Ben on the faith aspect of things in the Bible. He's pretty well versed, I've come to learn, and I'll also say that he's been an inspiration to me with regards to it, and I can say that certainly my relationship with God's Word has grown immensely as I've had the opportunity to spend time with it, and I look forward to
You have 1 minute remaining.
to it enhancing. There's so much to it. I've been bogged down in my government corruption for the last number of years, and like I said, the fifth generation wolf. So thank you, Ben, for that, and I look forward to working together with you. Talk about fifth generation. You know, you've heard about Mockingbird, right? Oh yeah, started back in 1953, and that's some of the things Ben and I are going to get into. I'll turn it back over to you, Tom. Love you, Northern Neck. Love you all. Miss Cheryl, love you guys.
Thank you. Carol's here too.
Love you guys.
My Carol's here too.
That's okay.
Oh, hi, Carol. Hi, Carol.
She hasn't-
Happy Friday to everyone.
She never spoke to you before.
That's okay.
Hey,
Happy Friday. God bless you all.
God bless you too.
Same for you guys.
God bless you guys. We'll see you next week.
Thank you for
Okay,
calling.
thanks for calling.
All right. Get on air. All right. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for using Global Tellink.
So Carol, you never heard Michael Oliveris, so now you heard him.
I've never heard him refer to himself as Mike.
Yeah.
No, me either. Oh, that was okay.
Yeah, that's why I was saying that, you're here, because you always write to him.
Right, okay.
Now she gets
I
it.
didn't recognize the Mike, because I'm like, I had no
Michael
idea, just
Oliveris.
like you said, it's
Yeah.
Michael, because I
Yeah.
always call him Michael.
first I was
But
like,
Michael,
who's
Michael,
Mike?
Michael.
So
Yeah.
how many are you writing to?
Me, not many. I sent out like where Cheryl sends me out, which has only been a few, so like 10, 12 maybe.
That's still a
And
lot.
only a few wrote back. About three or four wrote back. And I'm happy with that. That keeps me busy enough.
What's the, are you guys,
Because mine are letters.
yeah, well, that's what I wanted to ask you, on the letters, how long is it taking for the letters to get there, to them?
Not long.
Really?
Within the week, they
Okay.
have them. I'm getting them back.
In DC.
In DC.
They're
Yeah.
faster now. Before they used to be really, really
When-
slow.
ever
Even-
since
even-
I've
But
started.
you better be careful with that, because you're talking about the mailroom, and that's the only thing that's not wrong right now.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
Coors Links they're like, the turnaround time is hours now, so
Really?
half a day.
Depends on the facility.
That's interesting.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, I like what they're talking about. They're kind of thinking about putting together programs to speak, that's cool. I like it, so.
Oh, probably cold, just a few minutes.
Yeah, we're almost out of bucks, but I think they're charging us 11 cents a minute. Did we determine that before? If the call's 15 minutes, that would be $1.60, right?
Yep.
Roughly. So that's what between the second and third call was exactly what it was, so. You think that's down from what it was originally? Or no?
Yeah, I do, because I think before, it's been like 19 cents.
I think you're right.
Let's see if I can do something here to liven things up just a little bit. First, I gotta do this.
Did you hear Gutfeld's blurb on the 5?
No, I didn't. Every once in a while I'll catch Gutfeld
I
and the
don't watch
Five.
any of it because it's on Fox News, but it's on Instagram going around. It's interesting.
How long ago?
I found it yesterday.
Okay. I saw something he did a week ago that was really good.
Y'all might appreciate this one.
Go ahead.
Come on now.
Everyday prices are too high. It feels so hard to just be able to get ahead. The bills add up. Food, rent, gas, back to school clothes, prescription medication, the cost of food. A loaf of bread costs 50% more. Ground beef is up almost 50%. There's a serious housing shortage. The price of housing
You do
has
know
gone up.
she's
It's
repeating
difficult
everything
to
Trump
build,
has said.
and it's driving prices up. It is out of reach. The size
Oh,
of
they
down
copy
payment
everything
have
Trump
gone up
has
as well.
done and
Costs are
said
still
and
too high.
flip it around.
There's not much left at the end of the month, and prices are still too high.
Because of them.
Well, so if you hear this on the radio, the next thing that comes on, it says, "My name's Donald Trump and I approve this message."
It should be, because that's exactly.
A loaf of bread costs 50% more today than it did before the pandemic. Ground beef is up almost 50%.
I can't even.
I'm Donald
Me
Trump.
neither.
I know.
Thank
The look
you.
on your face was just
My
priceless.
my husband, he has the news on, and every time I hear her voice, I get angry. I'm like, shut that shit off.
I don't want to hear her
That's
speak.
on Gateway
I don't wanna
Pundit,
look
that-
at her.
that
I can't.
It's
Basically,
stand
Donald Trump is
her
stealing
gaggle.
everything she says
Oh,
and
stop. Really?
and making his ad say she's admitting to it. I mean, she's just going off and saying all this crazy stuff, and she's saying it to try and pin it on Joe, right? She's trying to distance herself from the stuff,
Like
but
she was
did-
before
Like
she
she
became
wasn't
the
part of
nominee
this
for
So-
vice
problem.
president.
And Trump just goes along and says, "Well, if you're willing to admit it, I'll go ahead and endorse your ad." It's all good.
You still have time to do something about it.
5. There's only 5.
5
Don't
months
give her
left.
any more time. 5.
Yeah,
5
she
months.
got
Wait.
5 months. That we won't even count the half month because we know she's a government employee.
Well, they just had one, my husband was reading that they said that back in, I don't know, 2015, you needed $53,000 to apply for a loan for an average new home. Now it's $125,000 income to be able to be approved for the average cost of a home now. At $400,000, so that's the average home. So you need an income of $125,000 to be able to even be considered for a home, basically.
Oh, and they're gonna give, if you're a first-time home buyer, they're gonna give you $25,000 towards that purchase.
Oh, how nice of them.
And have a kid, because they're gonna give you close to $9,000. for
So
I thought it was 6 because it was 1,000 more
that's
than
if you have an infant,
Oh.
it's 6,000.
What else are you gonna have?
For your 14-year-old, it's 3,600.
Don't open doors you don't want to.
And I got to tell you, I was thinking about selling a house. I just added $25,000 to the price. So, thank you, you first-time home buyers.
Mm-hmm, exactly.
Just saying. And so the prices are going up. It's gonna just, I tried to explain this to my daughter. She thinks that everything would be better if we just increased, forced everybody to pay a living wage. What she calls a living wage is more money than I've ever made in my life.
What does she call? What's she call it?
She wants to be able to pay $3,000 a month for rent.
Right, okay, so what's she
Not in
call
my
a living
lifetime.
wage? A monthly, okay, well, I'm curious. What the,
Hello, this is a prepaid call from
ah,
an inmate at the Washington, D.C. Central Detention Facility. To accept this call, press 0. Your current balance is 31 cents. This call is from a correction facility and is subject to monitoring and recording. Thank you for using Global Tel-Link.
Hey, Dominic.
Hello.
Hi, this is Cheryl from Northern Neck.
Hey, Cheryl, and all the rest of the Northern Neck Patriots. How are we doing tonight?
We're doing great.
Doing good.
very good, thank you.
Awesome. Who's all there? Is that Tom?
Yeah, we got Tom, Cheryl, Maurice, and then we've got some other folks that are not on the camera, but they're all hooting and hollering and supporting you guys.
Crazy.
Awesome. Well, I wanted to say, speaking of hooting and hollering, just a few minutes ago when you guys were talking to Ben Verlew and Michael Oliveira, if you heard some commotion in the background, I wanted to clarify what that was. That was the rock, paper, scissors championship of the world.
Oh.
Between Jonathan Pollock and Joseph Hutchinson. Now, this just wasn't any rock, paper, scissors championship in the world. There was a serious prize on the line. We have one final detailed position that was available, and in dramatic fashion, better than the NBA Finals, better than the Super Bowl, better than the college football championship, this game came down to the wire. Johnny Pollock had 3 wins. Joseph Hutchinson had 3 wins, and at the very last second, an incredible rock from Joseph Hutchinson crushed the scissors of Johnny Pollock. And I'm excited to say, guys, it was one of the most dramatic moments in sports history possibly ever. We just witnessed the Olympics, which were full of drag queens and tranny ideology. That was, there were some great events, but nothing quite like what I witnessed here in C3G, the Patriot Pod, between you and J6 family. It was incredible.
Awesome.
Well,
it was
thank you for
loud.
that,
We were wondering what was going on. We could hear it.
Sportscast. It was very professional.
Yeah, it was a sight to behold. That I can tell you. Maybe if we can get Tom Fitton on the case judicial.
You have 1 minute remaining.
We've only got 1 minute left.
About the anthem.
You have 60 seconds remaining.
I will call you.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to replenish.
dang it,
We have to replenish our card, but call back and we'll get it sorted out. We're out of money on our
Okay.
card.
All right. I'll call back on somebody that's got a couple dollars. Give me just no worries.
All
I'm gonna carry you guys through the anthem tonight.
Yeah,
All right,
sounds good.
All right. God bless you guys. We'll call right back.
Bye.
Thank you for using Global Tellink.
I don't know how to replenish that until it actually runs out. I could probably go online and do it, but I haven't.
That was funny.
That's really
his
funny.
Sportscast, I loved it.
I thought they were playing spades or
Rock,
something.
paper,
in the
scissors.
background.
Now, I knew something was going on
So
fun back
is
there.
is your budget there already spent?
Well, we had 31 cents, so that would have taken us
That just giving you
3 minutes. It's not even. So that was about what we had.
But by the time we call back, we're gonna have to stand, so get ready for that.
Oh,
Oh, it's that time, isn't it?
yeah.
I have something for you, Carol.
Okay.
We talked about it last week.
Oh, I
Yeah,
know. Yes, indeed.
Even better.
I was just say more beans.
No,
Well, it's out of your garden. It works for me.
not out of my garden.
It's not out of your garden?
Nope.
No. That's okay. It came out of somebody's garden.
Well, it's quiet, so somebody says something. So we have any new people on the line?
Yeah, we got Morgan. Valerie's there.
Oh, hi Valerie, your son's gonna call back. Here he is.
Hello. This is a prepaid
It's a
debit
different
call
voice.
from
Yeah,
Foreign labor.
oh, we know it's gonna be Dominic.
an inmate at the Washington, D.C. Central Detention Facility. To accept this call, press 0. To refuse. This call is from a correction facility and is subject to monitoring and recording. Thank you for using Global Tellink.
Hello again, Northern Neck Patriots and America.
Thanks for calling back.
Thanks.
Absolutely, guys. Well, hey, I want to let you guys know, other than the anthem, which is the most exciting part of my night every night, today's actually a special day. It is my 1-year jail anniversary. That's 365 days, nights, hours, and minutes of incarceration. So James Grant and I have a wonderful cheesecake that we're going to eat tonight. But I wanted to give a special thanks to, the Northern Neck Patriots who, I never had the pleasure of visiting your facility, and praise God I never will. But I wanted to give a special thanks to you, Tom, Cheryl, Maurice, and everybody for not just keeping our story front and center, even though the men are no longer in your facility, but for sending me letters, for sending me books, and just keeping me in your prayers, guys. You were some of the first people to reach out to me, and I got... Yeah, dial 11. Yeah, and I just wanted to say, I got Tom the letter the other day that you sent James and I. It was an incredible thing, with the Capitol Police whistleblowers, what's happening to them. But aside from that, guys, I just wanted to say, it's not my birthday, but it is a special, solemn, unfortunate day. But you guys have been there with me from the beginning, and I really appreciate that.
It's my birthday.
It's Cheryl's birthday, guys.
Hey, happy birthday!
Thank you. And,
I think
your
you all
mom's
should
on the,
sing happy
on the
birthday
line,
to
so you
her.
can say hi to your mom.
Hey, Mom, I love you so much. I'm glad I got to see you last week, and I cannot wait. Cheryl, my mom told me about the package you sent her. I think I mentioned it last week, but I'm looking forward to seeing that, and man, I'm looking forward to, getting out of here and back to Florida or Georgia or wherever the good Lord decides. To make sure that we're good to go like they have since day one of being in here. But guys, it's about that time on the anthem. I gotta tell you guys before we get going, I'm sure the other guys mentioned it to you, but after some interesting information was shared on the vigil last night, on the DC vigil that we call into every night, the facility decided to go ahead and ban us from calling our contact number out there. It was a crazy thing. So I'm glad we still got our Northern Neck Patriots on the line. We're not having any issues getting through to you guys. And I want to thank you guys for being out there with us every week, because, there was a term that it looks like we're having some trouble getting through again. But, back in 2000, between 2008 and 2012, at the University of Arkansas, I founded a group I was the founder of the University of Arkansas chapter of the Young Americans for Liberty and Youth for Ron Paul. And as a part of that movement, I learned about a term called slacktivism, or the American slacktivist. The slacktivist is the person who always said, hey, we're going to be there. They're online. They're saying, yeah, we support you. But when it comes time to actually show up to the different events, to donate to different causes, or to actually come out and get outside the jail and shine the light on the injustices that are being done, they're just nowhere to be found. But you guys, the Northern Neck Patriots, the people out there at Freedom Corner, people like my mom and all the other incredible patriots from Ohio, AJ, Susie, Kathy, and everybody that makes the trip out here to DC, out there to Northern Neck, out to Lewisburg, and around the country, keeping the light on these stories. You guys are the definition of an American activist. Oh, and here we go, guys. The anthem's about to start. Give me just 1 second.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light, once so proudly we hailed, at the twilight's last gleaming, whose cross stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight, for the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bells bursting in air, came through the night, and our flag was still there. Oh, sing us that star-spangled banner.
And I wanted to clarify that, my comment about collectivism, that's not to knock anybody who doesn't have the means to get out to DC or the means to get out to the different freedom convoys down to the border and different things like that. It's just really about doing what you can do, when you can, whatever your abilities are, whether that's sending letters to patriots that are in the middle of persecution at prisons around this country, whether that's donating to different live streamers like the Northern Neck Patriots, Freedom Corner, 1791 Stormtroopers, Sapphire Patriot, 4 Ashley, all the other great people that help put food in our belly and brighten our spirit. They come see us on Friday. You guys really are, you're the definition of what it means to be a true activist. You're doing what you can, keep the spotlight on the right things in this country. You show up when you're asked, and you guys recognize that it's about more than ourselves. It wasn't comfortable there on January 6th. It was a freezing cold day. It was my one day off of work for that week, and again, it was cold. Some of the things that I saw, I hope I never see again that day. But the significance and the importance of the moment dictated that I show up that day. The significance of the atrocities and the horrible things that were happening at Northern Neck dictated and required you guys to get out and form the incredible group that you guys now have. And it's just, there's so much more that can be done. And whether that's sending letters, whether that's, coming to visit people, whether that's, supporting people monetarily or whatever, we just want to, encourage people here, to do whatever you can when you can. And, we love the Northern Neck Patriots. We love everybody that, does what they can to keep our spirits high. But we are calling on the American people. There's more that can be done. And specifically, one of the issues that's really close to my heart is the illegal immigration situation. And I saw specifically today, they were talking about one of the patriots that I met today, Sherry, Sapphire Patriot, was one of those patriots that went down to the southern border as a part of the Freedom Convoy. And she got to see firsthand what it's really like there at our nation's southern border. It was a trip that I made actually after January 6th. The FBI was kind enough to allow me to go down there before they turned my world upside down. But our public school system in New York City has 36,000, they call them migrant children, over 8,500 in Denver, over 6,700 in Chicago, and we know that the numbers are significantly higher than are being represented on Scripps News. But find an issue that's important to you, whether it's people being mistreated in your local jails, whether it's the immigration issue, whether it's the price of potatoes and eggs, whatever it is, guys. Find whatever you're passionate about and get out and. Whether it's getting out in the streets or whatever, do what you can. The Northern Neck Patriots are a great example. Our friends at Freedom Corner are an incredible example. And the American people, our history, is a great example of what can be done. We can't affect change sitting on our couches eating Cheetos.
That's right. That's right. Amen.
No bonbons on the couch.
Absolutely. That is not a dig at J.D. Vance. I've heard they've been making fun of him about some couch situations. But I just wanted to say, somebody was kind enough, I don't know if that came from you guys, somebody sent me a copy of J.D. Vance's Hillbilly Elegy and a book called U Squared. So that's, whether that was you guys or one of the other great patriots out there, I want to thank you guys for that. I'm finishing up Napoleon Hill's Outwitting the Devil right now. But then Hillbilly Elegy is next on my list. So I'm looking forward to that. And I've got to admit, Cheryl, I have still not cracked the Count of Monte Cristo. That Count of Monte Cristo, that looks like a tomb and a massive undertaking. But it's on the list as well. I finished Atlas Shrugged a couple months ago. And excellent. Man, when you get into one of those books, it is a commitment. But I want to thank you guys for sending me that as well.
I'm getting another package ready for your mom, so she should expect that in the next few weeks.
Awesome. Well, yeah, she was able to come out last week thanks to a great organization called Stand in the Gap. And it's, for her, she's been, a part of the community through me and my experience, but actually getting out and meeting the people on the ground, getting to know some more of the men, seeing them in the visit, she said, man, you know, there's so much more that I can be doing and want to do. And that's, you know, I would encourage everybody, whether you're out there I'm going to speak on my ignorance a little bit. I don't know if you guys are in Northern or Central Virginia. If you're in the Northern Neck area, get out and join the Northern Neck Patriots. Become a part of the movement. Attend one of the meetings, and you'll be energized. You'll be invigorated. And my mom is not somebody who was involved in politics or, she wasn't really a part of the Trump campaign or anything like that. She just saw her son going through this, and when she actually got out here, you know, she has seen, you know, what this community can be, and she recognizes the need that so many men and women have after going through this. And, you know, it really is, you know, we talk about it in here all the time, you know, none of us were there on January 6th for ourselves. We were there to be a part of something bigger than ourselves. That was, you know, ensuring election integrity, standing up for what I believe to be the greatest president in modern American history, and ultimately just something bigger than ourselves. It was never about me. It was never about James Grant, John Bonguelo, Johnny Pollock, or any of the incredible men engineers. We were all a part of something bigger than ourselves on that day. And just because, you know, tomorrow is August 17th, that's a perfect day to get involved in your local community, whether that's your local GOP, whether that's the Northern Neck Patriots, or whatever the case may be. There are incredible patriots in pockets around this country, even in liberal progressive utopia, Savannah, Georgia. I met some of the most incredible conservative activists, traditional, you know, great American people. And I assure you, whether it's Oklahoma, Seattle, Washington, Portland, Oregon, Los Angeles, California, wherever, you know, get out, get into your community, because so many of us, myself included, you know, one of the best things about coming to jail now for over a year has been I've gotten off of, you know, that cell phone, and I've gotten away from that social media addiction that tricks you into thinking you're a part of these communities when you're really not. And I don't want to say I was that slacktivist, because, you know, you guys check out my Rumble account, Chatham Free Press. You'll see the work that I was doing. But, you know, when you actually get out and you can shake somebody's hand, you can give them a hug, or you can help make those signs or write those letters to whoever, show up to, you know, your local alderman's meeting, your city council meeting, and ask your representatives questions directly, you realize not only how accessible the political process is, but how much better it feels to you know, I was able to literally show up at you know, I was living in Georgia at the time of January 6th, and I was literally able to go to an event, walk up, kind of like they always say, you know, with a hard hat and a clipboard, you can get in anywhere. I walked up with a camera and a microphone and was able to ask Governor Brian Kemp why Georgia wasn't doing an audit like the one that was going on in Maricopa County. So you don't have to have any special degrees. You don't have to have any credentials. You know, a journalist or a writer is someone who writes. A reporter is someone who reports. And an activist is someone who acts. So that would be my message for you guys tonight. Get out, do what you can. You don't have to donate money. You can donate time, you can donate prayers, but there's something that everybody can do, and the Northern Neck Patriots are a great example of putting the act into activism. So I want to thank you guys again for all your support, all your praise, all your prayers, and just continuing to be a light on this incredible story of American history. It's Dominic Box. My DCBOC number is 387287. Again, it's Chatham Free Press on Rumble, Instagram, not Don Box.
You have 1 minute remaining.
X Don Free Press, and on Truth Social, I believe it's also not Don Box, that stands for none other than Dominic Box. Northern Neck Patriots, thank you guys. God bless, and I look forward to talking to you again next week.
Thank you.
Sounds great, Dom. Great.
Awesome.
All right.
Have a great
Fight,
evening.
fight, fight. Mama, I love you. And John, if you're there, I think my mom sent you an email. I hope you got it, and God bless you guys.
All right, God bless you too. Good night.
Good night.
All right.
Good night.
Thank you for using Global Telling.
And his Give Sun Go is Freedom J6.
That was cool. He's got
He doesn't take a breath, does he?
There was so much packed into that, and I would say definitely check out the Chatham Free Press. I went online there a few weeks ago and looked at some of the stuff that he had done, and he's absolutely right. He just did a great job with that stuff. So again, everyone, we're going to call it a night here. Thanks for joining in, and please share this and spread it around, and always support your J6ers, and everybody have a good week. God bless.
Something for your.
Yeah.
So I was, towards the end there, I was